Now, page 4, the weakest, most anti-constitutional Democrat nominee since 1972. What's the difference between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders? What's the difference? Bernie is an unabashed, in-your-face radical who supports genocidal maniacs. Yes, that's correct. Bernie is a Marxist socialist who wants to massively grow the size and scope of government. Yep. Bernie wants to fund this massive expansion of the federal Leviathan through an extensive and unworkable series of schemes to redistribute wealth, aka taxes. That's exactly right. And in the end, Bernie's goal is to fundamentally transform the United States from a representative republic into a banana republic, some kind of cheap, tyrannical hybrid of Denmark and Cuba. Yes, Bernie is all of that and worse. As for Biden, he's no Bernie Sanders, or is he? Biden is for open borders. Biden is for Medicare for all. He simply hides it. Biden is for taxing the rich and growing government and handouts to non-producers in this society. So how is this any different than Bernie? Answer, it's not. The difference between Biden and Bernie is style. Bernie is an out-of-the-closet anti-constitutionalist. Biden is simply still in the closet. You see, there are no moderates seeking the Democrat nomination. There are simply variations of honesty in hawking nefarious plans to seize government control of the private sector and individual liberty. Still, the Democrat Party appears to be getting what it wanted all along, a repeat of the coronation process of 2016. Bernie's candor and honesty is simply not as palatable as old Harry Joe running around the country sugarcoating the very same socialist policies. Bernie was merely a minor distraction during the Hillary Clinton coronation process of 4 years ago. Today, Bernie and the political juggernaut that he's heading and his Marxist socialist revolution is Toto, pulling back the curtain of the Wizard of Biden. And so the Democrat Party is coalescing around Sloppy Joe, trying desperately to yank that curtain back so that Biden's anti-constitutional policies are concealed, just as they did for Barack Obama. In the end, there is not much difference between Biden and Bernie as the Democrats careen toward nominating the weakest, most anti-constitutional candidate for president since George McGovern.
That we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal.
Stop tape. This is what I love about the modern Democrat Party. They run around and they quote the Declaration of Independence, they quote the United States Constitution whenever they think it's convenient, but they don't live up to the tenets of the Declaration of Independence, and they don't hold dear as a contract between we the people and the federal government, the federal Leviathan, the United States Constitution. They quote the founding documents whenever they find it necessary to try and score points with their political base, but they don't mean it. They don't believe the tenets of the Declaration of Independence. They don't want to secure my liberty. Joe Biden wants to destroy my liberty. Joe Biden wants to take on the NRA. Well, who is the NRA? Is the NRA some sort of behemoth organization in the United States that controls a certain amount of power? No, not at all. The NRA is me. The NRA is you. The NRA is millions and millions of God-fearing, constitutional-loving Americans. So when Joe Biden says he wants to take on the NRA and proudly do so, he's taking on you and me. He wants to attack you and me. He wants to pare down the God-given liberty that is protected in the founding document, the United States Constitution. He wants to attack the Second Amendment. He doesn't care about the reason the framers of the Constitution put the Second Amendment in position number 2 in the Bill of Rights. Right after the First Amendment, we have guns. Why is that? Why did the framers think it was so important, Joe, to put Amendment number 2 there about guns? Sure, It was born of the Virginia Bill of Rights, but they put it there for a reason. And the reason is very simple, is to keep tyrants like yourself, tyrants like Bernie Sanders, tyrants like Barack Obama and company at bay. The framers knew that if we had the power, that the people of this republic had some sort of way of keeping government and people in government at check, that would be a crucial component to preserving liberty in this country. And that is why we have the Second Amendment. Sure, the framers also wanted us to be able to protect ourselves and our families. That was an important component to the Second Amendment as well. But the chief component was to make sure that we never had a tyrannical government and a bunch of tyrants running our government. Unfortunately, a slow creep and a slow erosion of the Second Amendment has coincided with the swamp in Washington, D.C. There is a one-to-one correlation, which is why we need to keep and preserve the Second Amendment and not allow tyrants like Joe Biden to shred it. Roll tape.
Endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights.
Stop tape. If we have certain rights, Joe, then why do you want to take away my rights? Why do you want to do this? Why do you never talk about my personal property rights? This is something that the framers of the Constitution knew was crucial to the founding of this republic. Personal property rights is everything. Personal property rights is an expression, if you will, of our time on the planet. And personal property rights includes the money that we earn. And Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are no different in wanting to tax the American people into oblivion. And by taxing the American people 1 penny, it is an attack on our personal property rights, which is a de facto attack on our life on this planet. We choose to work for that money. That is a limited amount of time that we have on this planet, and the government has no right to come after that personal property that we build during our time, our limited time on Earth. So the Democrat Party is rallying around old Joe. But really, what choice does it have? Nominate a guy who speaks the truth about the radical Democrat agenda, or nominate a guy who conceals it so that millions of Americans are duped into believing that he's a so-called moderate, when in reality, he's anything but.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today. Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.